What is going on? Welcome back to the show. As you can see, today we're going to be going over the Land Rover Defender. This is going to be the new Defender. Obviously, if you have some eyes, you can see it on the screen. This is Land Rover's tribute to the original Defender, which in the United States is never really a thing. However, in Europe and the rest of the world, it's been produced up until around 2016, 2017, which is pretty interesting. Fair use, by the way, fair use, fair use. This new vehicle, however, is nothing like the old Land Rover Defender. This is a whole new vehicle. It's not a body-on-frame truck like the old one. It is a unibody car with some hints to harken back to the Land Rover Defender heritage, but that is about it. I kind of compare this car to what the FJ Cruiser was compared to the original FJ from Toyota. It's a modern utilitarian, supposedly off-roader. However, we know that most people aren't going to be off-roading these things. However, they are very capable. We're going to be going over everything that this car has in terms of its off-roading features as well as its modern technology as well. Interior, we can see they try to make it very utilitarian with these torque screws. You can see that here. Hey, shout out to Supercar Brit in the chat. But yeah, as you can see, similar to the FJ Cruiser in terms of the way they make their interior look more utilitarian than it actually is. It's kind of the same vibes here, except of course being a Land Rover, it is going to be a lot more luxurious. Lots of interior design features in this. You have the porthole windows on the roof. Depending on which body style you can get, you also have a rear sunroof as well, but you also have a front panoramic roof. I really like this interior color. I think this is one of the best color combos, but we're going to be going over all that in a second. If you're new here, what we go over is the features, options, and problems of the vehicle, so you can basically know exactly what car you're going to get. There's a ton of these for sale, over, including new vehicles, probably around 5,000 on the market right now, which is insane. Usually when we go over cars, it is like in the couple hundreds at the very most. But there are a ton of these out here, and when we go over the options, you'll see there's so many different options. I'm pretty sure almost every one of these is slightly different in some way, whether it be the wheels or just an interior option here or there, with the color as well. I don't know why Land Rover does this. Jaguar does this as well, but they just have way too many trim levels for their vehicles, and it makes it really confusing. It's probably one of the reasons why they're not doing too well nowadays. It's just they have way too many types of cars. You got to narrow it down in order to be able to sell better, in my opinion. But yeah, this car, they divided into colors. I'm sorry, they divided into engines, trims, packs, exterior pack, like options pack, interior packs, and then on top of that you can get individual options as well. And on top of that, having minor changes between the model years, which we'll go over as well. One thing that's interesting about this car is you can see it right here. This is one of them that has an analog gauge cluster. You'll see this in a second when we go over the ads at the end of the show. But some of the vehicles did come with analog gauge clusters simply because this car was produced during the chip shortage. Started being made in around 2020, and that was during the pandemic. And as you can see, this car was affected by the chip shortage. It has an analog cluster, which is pretty interesting that they would do this. You'll see that more in Europe than in America. I could only find one example with an analog cluster, but we'll see that in a second. Usually they have a full digital gauge. Anyway, let's skip through this a little bit. We can see this one's equipped with a big screen, but again, I'll let you guys know exactly what options are available for these cars. This looks to be a Defender X, which again, we'll go over in a second. There are lots of different trims for this vehicle. Just skipping through. I want to see the outside once more. It has a swing open tailgate, which is cool. Very G-Wagon-esque. This car has G-Wagon vibes, we're going to be honest. It's narrow, it's tall, has a swing open tailgate. It's that luxury off-roader feel where it's still very capable, but it will never be used for that. Air suspension on this example. This vehicle can tread water. Again, it was made to off-road, but no one ever does that, which is unfortunate. Anyway, let's get out of here. I got some videos of it off-roading just so you guys can see. Fair use, fair use. So we can see it can actually wade through some pretty deep water, especially if it's equipped with a snorkel. That's part of one of the packs we'll get to in a second as well. We can see here. Oh wait, let's mute this. It can come equipped with center locking and rear locking diffs, so it can actually do this kind of stuff off-road. Very rare to see. However, it is capable. So if you buy one of these, just know that you are getting a capable vehicle. Oh, here we have a Discovery doing the same thing. Land Rover is very capable. Just keep that in mind. Then we have one more. Fair use, fair use. We can see he backed it up a little bit, locked up the diffs. Look at all the noise. Alright, and just gunned it. Easy as pie. And I got one more video for y'all just to show you the interior. Fair use, fair use. Shout out to Bros 4 Speed. But this is what it looks like when you're driving. This is that digital display I was talking about. So a lot better than that analog gauge cluster. And it's weird because it was some of the top trim levels that got the analog gauge cluster, just simply because there weren't enough chips for the vehicles at the time. But you can see this is the brown and black interior combo. Looks like this one has an Alcantara wheel. But again, very, very nice interior for what it is. More utilitarian, obviously, than a Range Rover. However, the interior quality is about the same. You can take that with a grain of salt. A lot of people have complained about these early models, at least 20 and 21, being not really put together that well interior-wise in terms of trim. But mechanically, these cars are pretty sound. But yeah, this is what it looks like. Get this music off. We're about to get into the show, y'all. All right. Cool. All right. So, welcome to the show. On We're on Cars, back again with another car buyer's guide. And as you can see, we are going to be going over the Land Rover Discovery, the Land Rover Defender. As I mentioned at the top of the show, this is a tribute to the old Defender, which in the United States, I'm not sure what years it was produced to. If it was produced at all, because I just see them being imported. However, in the rest of the world, it was produced up to 2016 with that old body style. And they no longer produce that, but they produce this new Defender. Not the same, not related in any way in terms of its chassis or anything in terms of parts. All new car. It just uses some of the design cues. The boxy design cues. Looks kind of like a Dakar rally car. It looks really nice in my opinion. I think this is one of the best designed vehicles of this decade. A lot of people would disagree with me, but I think these look so good. They turn heads wherever you go. Everyone stares. So many different options as well to make them very capable off-road. And yeah, in terms of reliability, they use some pretty good powertrains. You can get a 4-cylinder, 6-cylinder, and 2 different 8-cylinder engines, a supercharged 5-liter V8, and for the facelift version, which comes out next year, a 4.4-liter twin-turbo BMW engine, which is pretty insane, but very Land Rover of them to offer both the 5-liter and the 4.4-liter V8. We'll have to catch up. Land Rover, is this one reliable? Well, this is a new vehicle, so it's hard to tell whether the long-term reliability is there. However, people have said that this is pretty reliable. However, you know, I'm not too sure of that, especially with the P400 powertrain. We'll go over that in a second, but it is a straight 6 turbocharged, supercharged hybrid powertrain. So it has all 3. And so I'm not too sure how well that will hold up in the future. However, for the last 4 years, people have, for the most part, have had little complaints. So let's get into the features, options, and problems with the vehicle. I got it right here. So, as I mentioned before, 2020 to present is the model years for this car. It's still being produced. The facelift comes out in 2025. 2024, depending on where you are in the world, but it is right at the end of its pre-facelift era. Is designated the L663. So if you're trying to find it online, if you type in Land Rover Defender, you're just going to get the old Defender. You have to type in L663. And of course, it is a continuation of the Defender namesake, but however, it doesn't use a body on frame design. It uses a unibody design. There's a ton of different ways you can have this car. I think there's like 15 different model and engine combinations, which is crazy because that doesn't even include the option packs, the accessory packs, or the or any of this extra options here. I don't know if you guys can read it. It's pretty small, but I can barely read it. Anyway, so it's available in the 90, which is what it's called. It's the Land Rover Defender 90. It's going to be the 3-door, so the 2-door and the trunk. You have the 110, which is the standard length 5-door, and then you have the 130, which is the 5-door extended models. It looks like it has a backpack. That's what everyone says on the back. It just looks a little awkward, but it works. In my opinion, is built in Slovakia at the Jaguar Land Rover Nitra plant. So this is built alongside the Discovery as well. $1 billion plant, brand new. It features permanent all-wheel drive, locking diffs, center and rear, a 2-speed transfer case, and you can either get coil or air suspension. The air suspension, of course, is going to be the more capable suspension. You have 3 engine options. Well, excuse me. You have 5 engine options available in the United States. However, one of them is going to be coming out soon or just barely coming out. You see people reviewing the new ones, but you don't really see any of them online in terms of used or for sale. But you have the 4-cylinder turbo. This is going to be the P300 designated model designation. 296 horsepower, 295 pound-feet of torque. So even though it's a 4-cylinder turbo, it is pretty capable in terms of numbers. Then you have the 6-cylinder turbo, which it really is a turbo, supercharged, and hybrid powertrain. Makes 395 horsepower and 406 pound-feet of torque. This, in my opinion, is the sweet spot of the engines in terms of reliability, as well as fuel economy, as well as just smoothness. The 6-cylinder turbo with all this extra help is really good. A lot of people like the P400. That's what it's called. Then you have the V8. So you have a 5-liter, or this should be a 5.0 liter, not 50 liter. 5-liter supercharged engine. You either have that in the P500, which makes 518 horsepower and 461 pound-feet of torque, or the sorry, that was a P525. You either have in the 500, which is 593 horsepower and 450 pound-feet of torque, or the P525, which is 518 horsepower and 461 pound-feet of torque. And then finally, you have the V8, the 4.4-liter twin-turbo BMW engine in the Octa, so the Land Rover Defender Octa. It's a wider car. It's kind of like the Raptor version of the Defender, if you want to think of it that way. It's coming soon. It has 626 horsepower and 553 pound-feet of torque. I'm pretty sure that's going to be an N63 engine or an N68. Do they even have that? It's going to be one of those BMW engines. Hopefully, by now, this is one of those updated engines that doesn't have all the problems, but you never know. All models use an 8-speed ZF transmission, very common transmission. Almost every single vehicle nowadays uses the 8-speed. I think probably over half of them do. It's pretty insane. For the 90 and the 130, excluding the, for the 110 and the 130, excluding the 90, you can get a 2 or 3 row setup. Actually, let me rephrase that. For the 110, you can get a 2 or 3 row setup. In the 130, you can only get 3 rows because it's huge. And for the 90, you cannot get 3 rows. It has a rugged interior, as I mentioned before, kind of similar to the FJ Cruiser in terms of its ethos of where or why it was produced. It's like a throwback, a tribute to the older vehicle. And it's made rugged just for looks. Like they have torque bolts to hold the trim in, even though it's not necessary. You also have a front jump seat option, which is pretty cool. So if you want to seat 9 people in your 130 or 110, well, I guess the 110 can only seat 8 because the rear seats are 2. But for the 130, you can have a 3-row rear seat, so that can make 9 people in your vehicle. Average weight is around 4,800 pounds. The P300 4-cylinder is like 4,700 pounds. And then if you go up in engine, of course, it's going to add to the weight. So around 4,800 is where it sits on average. Tons of testing was done for this vehicle. 750,000 miles of testing, 45,000 individual tests ranging from negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit to 122 degrees Fahrenheit. They really tested this vehicle to make sure it could handle all parts of the world, which is a shame because most people just drive these to the mall. Monsoon testing as well. They like blasted with water, I guess, but they did a lot to this vehicle. And as I mentioned before, the digital dash is not included in some models, chip shortage, so be careful. If you're buying one of these, make sure that you're not getting one without the digital dash. That'll be a shame because they're all the same price, well, in the same range. There's a huge range of these, but they won't ever mention that this car has an analog dash when you look at one that has an analog dash. People just expect it. They just see it and they're like, oh, okay, I guess it has analog dash, but it really shouldn't. But some of them do. Anyway, let's get on to the options. This is the best part of the video because there are so many different options for this car. First of all, we went over the engines. You have the P300 4-cylinder, the P600 6-cylinder, then you have the V8 with the P500, or you have the P525 V8, so 2 different V8s. So 4 different engines right there. These are available in the United States. In Europe, you also have a whole range of diesel engines as well, which makes it even more confusing. But on top of that, you also have the trims. You have the standard or base trim, so that's not going to have any designation. Then you have the S, then you have the SE, you have the X, you have the X. Well, these aren't even in order, to be honest. It should go SE, then you have your X Dynamic S, X Dynamic SE, and I forgot to even mention there's an X Dynamic HSE, which is kind of confusing because I couldn't really find the difference between an SE and an HSE, but you also have the XS, which is different than the X Dynamic S. Then you have the X, which is the top of the line, so even though it's by itself, just letter X, remember that the X is the nicest one in terms of trim level, and then you have the V8, P500, P525, which are their own trim levels. It doesn't really make any sense to me. I'm going to show you a brochure real quick so you guys can get a better understanding of what I'm talking about. So, yeah, you can see how long and convoluted this brochure is. Scrolling to the top. All right, so not only do you have those trim levels, you also have the accessory packs, which we'll go over in a second. All right. So we might as well just go straight to the accessory packs because that's the next part in this brochure. You have 4 accessory packs. You have the Explorer pack, you have the Adventure pack, you have the Country pack, and you have the Urban pack. So I'll go through what each one has real quick, just reading it off the brochure. Explorer pack consists of raised air intake. So this is every time you see one with a raised air intake, and it's an Explorer pack. Expedition roof rack, so it comes with this bulkier, beefier roof rack. It has a side mounted gear carrier, so that box. The Expedition roof rack also comes with this ladder as well, as you can see. It has a matte black hood decal as well as wheel arch protection, so it's going to be not a painted wheel arch, it's going to be a plastic wheel arch. Then you have some upgrades. You can get the front Expedition protection system, so it's just some protection on the bottom of the front of the car. You have a deployable roof ladder. Oh, I thought that was standard, but it's not. It's an upgrade. You have the fixed or deployable side steps, bright side tubes, as well as a cargo space rubber mat. Then you have your Adventure pack. So this actually is cool. It comes with a portable rinse system. So you can actually, it holds 0.2 cubic feet of pressurized water. So you can actually hose off whatever you want. It has a little shower attachment as well. This also has a seat backpack, bright rear scuff plates, front and rear mud flaps, and a spare wheel cover. So sometimes they just come exposed. This one looks like it has a spare wheel cover as well. However, I'm not sure why they didn't mention it. Then you have the A-frame protection bar, which is this part in front, as you can see. Fixed or deployable, side steps, same thing as the, what's this called? The Explorer pack, bright side tubes, and of course the cargo space rubber mat. Hey, shout out to Clean Whips and Claro and Supercar Bread. I didn't give you guys your horn. Hey, Claro, you got a Porsche 996 Turbo. How has that been, man? I saw the pictures, and I would just want to congratulate you because we were talking about that like a long time ago, and you finally got it. That's pretty amazing. Then we have the Country pack. Consists of rear classic mud flaps. It has the Land Rover Heritage logo on it. Cargo space partition. So this is interesting. In between the rear seats and the trunk, you have a full partition. Bright rear scuff plate, wheel arch protection as well. Then you can also get the same upgrades as the other 2 packs. Then you have the Urban pack. This is probably going to be the most popular pack in terms of what will give you the most resale, in my opinion. People do like all this off-roady stuff. However, it looks cool like in pictures, but people don't really use it as much as you think. This one comes with bright metal pedals, bright rear scuff plate, spare wheel cover, front undershield for curbs, which is really funny, and also an upgrade 20-inch style 50955 spoke split wheel. So you can see those here. This car has so many wheel options. It's like gives you a headache how many options this car has, because it's like hard to even like conceptualize, but we'll go to all that in a second. You can see this is going to be that monocoque frame as opposed to a body on frame design. All right, let's scroll down. I just want to show you guys so you can see it's configurable in a bunch of different ways. This is going to be the 2-door. You can see the seats fold. You get you can fit 5 people in there barely. This is going to be the 110. They don't even show the 130 on this brochure. Let's scroll. I'm trying to see if this one has the wheels on it. All right, so this kind of goes over the different trim models I was talking about. You have the base one. You can tell a base one usually because it has the steel wheels. However, a lot of people like the steel wheels. They'll put them on whatever. But usually the base models are the steel wheel cars. And then you have the X Dynamic XS edition, and this doesn't even cover all the trims, which is pretty crazy. Then you have the X. So the X is going to be your top of the line trim. You can get X with any engine. I believe the 6-cylinder and the 8-cylinder. But then the Defender V8 is its own trim, which doesn't make any sense because you can have a Defender P500X. So they make it real confusing. Then you have the Carpathian edition, which just comes in this color. Has some also specific options as well. These are going to be your paint colors. You have Fuji White, Hakuba Silver, Tasman Blue, Santorini Black, Yulong White, Pangea Green, Gondwana Stone, Eiger Gray, Silicon Silver, and Carpathian Gray. Oh, I want to get to the interior colors because these are the best parts. So this is for 2022 only. As I mentioned before, they made a lot of changes between the model years, but these are basically what colors you can get. You can get, it's like a black cloth. Then you can get tan leather, like a greenish leather. This one's going to be my favorite right here. It's called Vintage Tan on Ebony, Defender X only. Excuse me. Yeah, in terms of colors. And so these are going to be your wheel options. A ton of different wheel options, as you can see. You have 6 up here and then 8 right here. So 14 different wheel options. They all look pretty good. I just say, for me, because I think it looks good on the street in the street style, the bigger wheels will be something I will get. However, if you want to go off-roading, of course, a smaller wheel is probably more capable because you can get a thicker tire on there. And then you have all your different options you can get. You can get, sorry, excuse me. Let me drink some water real quick. You can get a canoe carrier or a kayak carrier, ski snowboard carrier, wheel mounted bike carrier, expedition roof rack. But let's look at the actual option packs, because this is actually where it gets really confusing. As you can see, this doesn't even have all the trim levels here. We have X Dynamic S, X Dynamic SC, V8. We don't even have, we have the XS for the 110, but we don't have the X Dynamic S. We don't have the X Dynamic SE. But yeah, you can see, we'll just scroll down to the packs real quick. So these are going to be your packs, your option packs. These are what you want to look out for because this is what usually is going to be listed in the ad. You're going to have the cold climate pack, which comes with a heated windscreen, heated washer jets, heated power wash. So your headlight wash, your windshield wash is all going to be heated, so it works in the cold. You have the comfort and convenience pack, which comes with premium cabin lighting, front center console, refrigerator compartment, and twin front cup holders with covers. You'll see that these cars come with 2 different sorry, I got my AirPods died, so I got to use the wired ones. These cars come with 2 different center consoles. Most of them will have the comfort and convenience pack with the big center console. Others will have the narrow center console that's kind of not connected on one end. Don't get that one. That one's real cheap. The easiest way to tell is that the one that you want has wood on the side as well as a cover for the cup holders. The other ones, the cup holders are just literally in your armrest. So we'll go over all that when we go over the ads in a second. Then you have the off-road pack. I highly suggest getting this package as well because it adds a lot to the vehicle. It comes with the electronic active differential, so you can actually lock the differentials, and it also has torque vectoring by braking, off-road tires, and a domestic plug socket. Again, the towing pack combined with the air suspension pack, because you need it for the towing pack, also will add a lot of value to the car. Advanced tow assist, tow hitch receiver, all-terrain progress control, terrain response 2. This is what you are, this terrain response 2 is a huge option. It's one of the things that Land Rover prides themselves on, so make sure you can get that, or make sure you have that if you're buying one of these, if you want to get the most for resale. If you don't really care about paying that much more when you buy it, it doesn't really matter. But terrain response 2 is what makes it really capable off-road. You also have configurable terrain response. I don't know why that's part of it, but anyway. Then you have the advanced off-road capability pack, which comes with all-terrain progress control, terrain response 2, and configurable terrain response. So you can get this without the towing pack, but the towing pack comes with it all, so just keep that in mind. And then the air suspension pack. Most of these cars are going to have air suspension, so you don't really need to worry about that. I'll show you exactly how to tell just off the bat because they have special buttons on the dash. Electronic air suspension, adaptive dynamics, and automatic headlight leveling. Then you have your family pack, which comes with the 3rd row seats, 3-zone climate control with rear cooling assist, air quality sensor, cabin air ionization, and then family comfort pack. You have the manual heated 3rd row, 3-zone climate control with rear cooling assist again, and air quality sensor, as well as cabin air ionization. So comfort pack comes with the 3rd row heated seats. Then you have some recommended builds. This is what dealerships should order. This is kind of a dealership pricing guide. We went over the colors, but here they are again. And then these are the wheels. So again, tons of different wheels available for this vehicle. Then you have your finishers. This is going to be your kick plates, light gray powder coat, brush finish, dark gray or satin black, or white powder coat. These are going to be your kick plates. And then in terms of your trim on the center console, you have the rough cut walnut veneer or the natural smoked oak veneer. So the lighter one is going to be the walnut. Smoked dark oak is going to be the darker one. Let's see. So yeah, I know that was a ton of information, but it is what it is. You need to know all this if you're trying to get one of these. A lot of people will just look and get whatever they can because they don't really know all the options. That kind of happens across the board with most car buying. If you want any assistance with your car buying experience in terms of just advice on what you should get, or a tailored like guide on what you should get based on your needs, hit me up. Just message me at one of the things in my description and I will make sure that I get back to you. All right, cool. So that was the options, but we're not done because there are a bunch of individual options as well. So in terms of the roofs, you can get a black or white contrast roof. This one has the black roof, as you can see in the picture. You can also get the sliding panoramic roof or not. Most of them are going to have the sliding panoramic roof. And you can also get a folding fabric roof. Not many option that because that just makes it less practical. However, you can get it. Then you have the black exterior pack, extended black exterior pack, bright exterior pack, extended bright exterior pack, signature graphic on the hood, black contract signature graphic on the hood, and satin protective film. The satin protective film is super expensive. It's like $5,000 option. It's like kind of like PPF. Towing equipment, you can get your tow hitch receiver, black exposed rear recovery eyes. These are going to be your tow hooks. You can get that as well. And of course, the front undershield. Lights, premium LED lights with DRL, automatic headlight leveling. Of course, these come with some of the packages. However, you can get them individually. Front fogs, headlight power wash. The wheels, you can get off-road tires or street tires. This one looks like it has the off-road tires as well as the many options of wheels. In terms of seating, there are also a bunch of ways you can have the seating in this vehicle. 10-way heated semi-powered, so half manual, half powered seats. These are going to be your base seats. Then you have your 12-way electric memory seats, 12-way climate electric memory seats. So these ones are heated. Climate means they are heated and cooled. Then you have your 14-way climate electric memory seats. So these are going to be your top of the line seats you'll probably find on the X trim or the X variant of the vehicle. Then you can also get your front jump seat, as I mentioned before. So the center console is done away with, and you just have a third seat in the front row. Maybe, I don't know. I've never used one of those. I think that ruins the interior of the car, but some people may need that extra seat. And you can also get heated rear seats, second and third row. And then I was mentioning this earlier, but the veneers and finishers, you can get your crossbar beam color. You can either get it in black, silver, or white. It's like something like that. Rough cut walnut veneer or natural smoke dark oak veneer. Well, there's only 2 options here, but it's easy to tell. One's lighter and one's dark. Steering wheels. There are a bunch of different steering wheels available for the Defender as well. You can have your manually adjustable stock steering wheel, standard steering wheel. You have your electric wheel, heated wheel, leather wheel. You have your standard leather wheel, and then you have your suede wheel. A lot of the top trims are going to have the suede wheel. Then tread plates, you can get them standard in the colors that I was mentioning earlier, and you can get those illuminated as well. So standard or illuminated. Headlining, you can either have the light oyster Morzine or the ebony Morzine, so either a light or dark headliner. I believe on the facelifted versions they do actually offer a suede headliner, so if you want to hold out for the facelifted versions are also built a lot better, and they have a lot more standard features, so if you want to hold out for one of those, just keep in mind they're more expensive. You also have the clear sight interior rearview mirror, smokers pack. Climate control, you either have 2-zone climate control, 3-zone climate control, 3-zone with rear cooling assist, air quality sensor, cabin air ionization, or you can have the upgraded ionization with a PM 2.5 filter, which I guess is a better system. I'm not really too sure what that is. Load space, you can get one with the partition net or storage rails. This is if you get a 100 without the rear seat. So this is for the 100. Audio system, you can get XM radio. I know a lot of old heads use XM radio, but it's whatever. And then you have your choice between 2 sound systems. You have the Meridian sound system and the Meridian surround sound system. Obviously, I would tell you to get the surround sound system, but the Meridian sound system isn't that bad. The surround system is just a better system. I'll show you guys how to tell whether a car has the surround or the standard Meridian system when we go over the ads. You can get Wi-Fi enabled with the data plan. Another thing to keep in mind is that on the lower trims, you'll find a 10-inch standard screen, and on the higher trims, you'll find an 11-inch or 11.4-inch touchscreen. Sometimes on the medium trims, like the X Dynamic SE, you can option it with an 11.4-inch touchscreen, but it comes standard with a 10-inch, but usually it comes with one or the other. I'd recommend trying to find one with the bigger screen. However, the smaller screen isn't that bad either. You can also get the option of heads-up display. Activity key is another thing. It's like a key. It's like a waterproof key. I believe it's like a bracelet, and you can kind of, leave all your stuff in the car and go swimming or something, or go running. You don't have to run around with your keys. So that's also a thing you can get. Also, adaptive cruise control is an option for these vehicles. And then, of course, your leather trim options. These aren't going to be the colors, but the material. You have grain leather, which is standard on the S and the SE. You have grain leather plus robust textile, which is going to be on the X Dynamic and S and X Dynamic SE. You have the Dynamica suede cloth with the steel cut premium textile. Windsor leather, which is going to be on the XS edition. The Windsor leather plus steel cut premium textiles on the X edition, and then Windsor leather plus Dynamica suede cloth and steel cut premium textile is going to be on your V8. So a ton of different ways you can have this car. Again, most of them you find are going to be very unique to one another, just simply because you can have so many different options. So keep that in mind. When you're shopping around for one of these, look at a bunch of different options. There are so many for sale right now. You should never only buy one car, or you should never only buy the first car you look at. Always look at a bunch of different options to compare. And these cars are all fairly new, so it really comes down to the options. In terms of problems, the biggest issue is going to be with the first and second model year 2020 and 2021. Just the build quality is said to not be that great in terms of the way the interior holds together. We've seen complaints of windshield trim coming off, rubber step on step bar glue failing, rattling interior door trim, pieces of the door trim and the trunk trim coming loose, body panels becoming misaligned, so the doors and the hood, sunroof leaks and cracks, especially with that panoramic roof, as well as speaker issues and just general infotainment issues. You also have air suspension faults in some models. Again, these cars are still new, so the complaints are going to haven't really come in yet, but air suspension faults have been seen. There have been some overheating issues with the P400, however, it's been rare. Ripping leather on high impact points, like where your elbow is on the center console, has been seen, but I'm not too sure of how that would get started. You kind of would have to rip it first before it really gets bad, like with something actually abrasive or sharp. You have clogged wiper jets, which is a thing. Infotainment glitches, as I mentioned before. However, most of the people who have these say they are mechanically sound. They've done 50, 60,000 miles in them, haven't really had any issues. Surprisingly, with the P400 and the triple charged, turbocharged, supercharged, and hybrid inline six, they've been pretty reliable, which is really good to hear. But again, these cars are still new, so we won't know if they're super reliable until probably the 2030s. Cool. All right, so we went through the features, options, and problems. Now it's time for the part of the show everyone sticks around for, the ads. So let's get to it. Let's see where are the ads. So I got some Facebook ads. We'll go through Facebook and Car Gurus today. So here we have our first example. The Facebook ones I just kind of threw together. Not too many examples on Facebook, simply because they don't really go through the options as much as I would like them to, and the pictures usually aren't as great. But here we have a 2021, so second model year Land Rover 110S. So this is going to be one step above the base pretty much. And then, so let's see what he has to say. 2021 Defender 110S, 43,000 miles, excellent shape, well-maintained, accident-free, ready for whatever you throw at it. Leather seats for ultimate comfort as much as capability, roof rack and ladder. So it has the Explorer pack, Adventure pack, one of those two packs. Side box included but not installed. Yeah, because the side box actually really hinders your rear view. You can't see out of the 3/4 panel. Your blind spot is really a blind spot with the box on. Just keep that in mind. Tech is solid too, with a 10-inch touchscreen, Apple CarPlay, and 3D surround camera. Super handy for any tight spots there. Minor scratches, blah blah blah. Asking 50 grand. $50,237. Interesting number to ask. This one's in the white color. As you can see, it's on some smaller wheels. It has the mud flaps. This is either the Adventure pack or Explorer pack. It has a roof rack, so I'm pretty sure it's the Adventure pack. Ladder as well. He said it also comes with the box. No wheel cover on this one. You can see some scratches on the door handles, scratches on the bumper, but again, these are like plastic painted parts, so of course they're going to scratch. Door handles are a little bit more like, why are they so scratched up? Anyway, you can see this is going to be that upgraded roof rack. You can store a lot of stuff up here. The ladder as well, which extends out. It actually folds down so you can climb up there. Interior, we can see off the bat, digital gauge cluster, which is good. Standard wheel with the paint to match wheel center. You can also see right here, this is where you can tell if it has air suspension or not. Has air suspension, has the small screen. So yeah, this is an S. It's a pretty well-equipped S. It has some good off-road parts, but it also, you can see it's not going to be the leather interior. It's kind of like that cloth interior. This one also has the family pack, so it has a third row option, but you can see it's 2 seats in the third row and not that much space. Very, very tiny space. Usually this would be reserved for children. But I mean, it is what it is. It's not a 130, so it is a 110. Clean car, clean title, 43,000 miles, so a little bit on the higher miles side for one of these. It's only been out for 3 years, and they already put 43,000 miles on it, so it was a daily driver. But they did keep it in relatively good shape. It's in Florida, so, you know, Florida people, I'm always skeptical about buying a car from Florida simply because it's just wild down there. But this one looks all right. I'd say because it's an S, I wouldn't want to pay 50 grand for it. It does have a lot of good options for an S. So I'd say for this one, I'd be around the $43,000 mark. Same thing with the miles, $43,000 for this example. Cool. Moving on to our next example. This one is going to be another S. 2022 though, with 30,000 miles. They want 56 grand. This one is in a better spec in my opinion. It is going to have the black paint as well as some upgraded wheels, which I'm not really a big fan of. But it just looks a little bit cooler. Off-road tires as well. Not as many options as the last example we looked at. However, it is a 22. See what he has to say. Super sharp upgraded Santorini black metallic and ebony black leather interior. One owner, no accidents. Black aluminum wheels. 33-inch Nitto grappler tires. Equipped turbocharged. Oh, this one is the 4-cylinder too. I guess they all have the 4-cylinder because they're an S. Yeah. So yeah. Let's see, 10-inch screen, blah, blah, blah. This one has the Meridian sound system, 400 watts, so not the surround system. Of course, this is an S, so it's not going to be that equipped. But it is a lower mile. Interior, you can see it's the leather. However, it has the cloth dash, has the white wheel. And this is how you can tell if it has a Meridian surround system or not. It says Meridian here. If it had the surround system, it would say Meridian and then underneath surround. So easy. Easy to tell what system you have. You can see here, cruise control, heated steering wheel. No rear climate, so this is just a 2-zone climate control, which is unfortunate. Very base spec car here. It looks nice in terms of the color and it's clean. However, for having 30,000 miles and being an S, I wouldn't want to pay more than around $47,000 for this car. These cars are pretty expensive. However, what you'll find is that a lot of people are dumping them on the market right now, probably because they're in lease deals and just want to get rid of them onto the new thing, but you'll find a ton of them for sale. So it's going to be not as hard to negotiate because there are so many different options. Okay, here we have another one. It doesn't say what trim level it is, so we're going to try to figure it out by pictures. It doesn't look like it's too high of a trim level though. We do have the plastic cladding, so that's a sign that it's not really higher than an SE. Interior, we can see black leather, same thing as before. Honestly, we have the suede or the dynamic or whatever you want to call it dashboard. Again, this is why I don't like Facebook. The pictures always suck. What does it say right here? This is an S, so you can see the options as well. It has the cold climate pack, the family pack, and the air suspension pack. So pretty base. Only 10,000 miles though. It's a 2024. So this thing is basically brand new. And of course, being a 2024, the quality issues have been taken care of. So this is actually going to be a solid car if you want a base one. It is an S though. So I believe that comes with the, it's hard to read. I can't even zoom in. This is going to be the 4-cylinder vehicle. Yeah, this one, they want 65 grand for it, 10,000, 2024. I mean, that's pretty reasonable, to be honest, being that it's pretty much brand new and only has 10,000 miles, but it's dropped down like 15 or 20 grand already. But for me, I wouldn't want to pay over like 58 grand for something like this. And I really wouldn't want to get something like this anyway, simply because if you're going to be paying 58 grand, you might as well get like a 2022 with more miles and a higher trim level. It's going to be a much better experience. Here we have a 130. So let's see if we can find some good pictures. You can see the back, the rear end is huge compared to the 110. The 110 stops about halfway compared to the 130. This one is going to be an X Dynamic SE with the extended black exterior pack. So you can see the extended black, meaning that the trim is no longer painted plastic. It is actually painted metal, or a metallic paint, I should say. This one's going to be an X Dynamic SE. So what X Dynamic means is kind of like a sportier version without being a full X. So it's like M Sport, but it's not an M. I guess you can think of it that way. But X Dynamic is not better than X. So keep that in mind. If you see X Dynamic, it's like an M Sport. So interior, you can see the leather wheel. Air suspension, of course. This one being a 23, you can see the X Dynamic SE. This one was optioned with the 11.4-inch screen. Let me see if I can show you the 10-inch screen. We'll look at this one. See the 10-inch screen right here? It doesn't go past the dash trim. However, this one goes past the dash trim. It's easy to tell. This one is also more of a rectangle. This one is more squared. This one has the ebony and black, or ebony and tan interior, because ebony means black, not tan. But you can see that. It also has the cool box, of course, comfort pack. Most of these, in fact, I think all of them had the comfort pack. Yeah, you can tell because it has the full extended center console, but comfort pack in a cool color. Full size. You have the 3-row seat in the back because this is a 130. Leather dash, of course. X Dynamic SE. So a lot better equipped. This one also has the tables, which is pretty cool. Let's see what sound system it has. Can we see that? It looks like it has a standard Meridian system. Let me see. But it is hard to tell. Yeah, I believe that's a standard Meridian system. I just see one line of writing. So yeah, standard Meridian system. Again, this is an X Dynamic SE. It's not an X. Let's see what he has to say. Nothing. This is a 23 with 8,500 miles. It is a 130 X Dynamic SE. So keep that in mind. It's kind of on the higher end of the trim levels. It's right crossing the midpoint. 78 grand. It's been for sale for 24 weeks. I'd say this car would be a great buy at around 68 grand, maybe even 69 grand. So 69 grand for this 130 2023 8,500 miles would be put you in a pretty good spot in terms of putting on, 10-15,000 miles and getting rid of it for around the same price. it is a good spec. Not the best spec, but it's a good spec. You can see it has the 3-zone climate control as well. Of course, this is a 130, so I'm pretty sure it comes standard. But again, 3rd row seat, rear panoramic roof. Not the surround system. If it had the surround system, it'd have some speakers up in the top center as well. And so the last one we're going to look at is a 23. This one's going to be a 90, so a 2-door example. This one's an S, so right above base. It has the comfort pack, so it has the full center console, but as you can also see, it has the cloth dash. Actually, this might be a leather dash. I can't. These pictures aren't the best. Leather dash. I'm going to say it has leather dash. This one does not have air suspension though. As you can see, there's part right here is blank. No air suspension on this one. It has the comfort, but no air suspension. It has a small screen because it is an S, and it is a 2-door vehicle, so it's going to be a 90. Not much space in the back. However, a lot of people do like these. I think these are going to hold up well in terms of the value. You can get them for a lot cheaper than the rest of them, and they're a lot quirkier. They look more like the original Defender, so it historically makes more sense for this one. However, they're just not practical in today's day and age, and people use these as family haulers. This would be more akin to like a Jeep Wrangler 2-door or something in terms of the buyer. 52. Wait, did I price? Yeah, 52,891. I don't know where they're getting these numbers from, but 53 grand is what they're asking for this one. Is 23 with 5,000 miles, so you can see these are way cheaper than the rest of them because they're just not as practical. I'd say because this is an S, and it doesn't have really that many options. It doesn't have any of the packs. It doesn't have any extended black exterior pack. It's on the small wheels, small screen. It doesn't have air suspension. I'd say for this one, I'd be around the $45,000 mark. Cool. All right, so let's move on to Car Gurus. These are better ads in my opinion. They come with more information, higher quality pictures. I like shopping on Car Gurus as well because you can filter out a lot of the vehicles in terms of their condition. I'm not sure if I did that for these ads, but we'll find out in a second. 2021 90 first edition. So this is going to be what was released. It's one of the release vehicles in terms of the way they were equipped. You have the snorkel, you have the roof rack, so this is going to be an adventure pack car. Off-road tires, mud flaps. Interior wise, you can see it has the air suspension. It has the standard, well, not standard, but not the comfort pack. This is what it looks like when you don't have the comfort pack center console. You just have this open cup holders, and the center console doesn't connect at the front like it does on the rest of them. You can see it's open space right here. Not really a fan of the way this looks, to be honest. But this was a first edition, so this is kind of how they came at first. This one also has a jump seat, so as you can see, if you get the non-comfort pack car, you can get it with the jump seat. This is what it looks like. So you have your 3 in the front and 3 in the back as well. Panoramic roof, light headliner. Of course, no climate control in the back. Do they show the door panels so we can see the Meridian system? Standard Meridian system on this, no surround. So this is pretty base. It has some cool off-roading options. However, in terms of everything else, pretty base. It's going to also be a first edition, so it comes with the 6-cylinder, so it's a P400, $37,900. It has 80,000 miles out, so this thing has been driven. Plenty of use in this car. I'd say for this one being a first edition, you're going to run into those problems with the build quality, obviously. I really wouldn't want to pay over like 32 grand for something like this. Maybe not even over 30 with this many miles. 31 grand. I'll split it down the middle. 31 grand. 80,000 miles is just really high for one of these things. It's only 3.5 years old, so keep that in mind. 31 grand is where I'd be at. Cool. Moving on to our next example if it loads. All right, cool. We have another 90. This one is going to be a 90X though. So we're getting to those higher level trims. This one has the snorkel, but no roof rack. You can also see it has some guards on the headlights, some extra options you can see as well. This one being a 21 has a small screen for an X, which is unfortunate. I believe they became more standard in 23. However, you can find some 22s maybe with the big screen, but we'll see in a second. But this is an X, so it's going to come pretty well equipped. You have air suspension, of course. You can see here, this is what the center console looks like if you don't have the jump seat and you have the comfort pack. This one is going to have the 20-inch wheels because it is an X. And because it is an X, it's also going to have the P400 engine that turbocharged, supercharged, hybrid inline 6. This is going to be, this is that dark smoked wood Not the walnut, but the dark oak right here. That's what that looks like. It almost looks black in this picture. But pretty clean. How many miles does it have? Only 26,000 miles. 2021 X. So the X's are always going to go for higher than the rest because the X is the one. It's like this. I don't want to say it's a sweet spot because it's up there, but it's like the X is the best all-round standard car you can get, and then you can get options on top of that. If you get a V8, sometimes it's an X, sometimes it's not. But if you get an X, you know that it's going to be a well-optioned vehicle. Lots of leather, just a better place to be. This one has the Meridian. Hold on. This one, I believe, has the Meridian surround system. You can kind of see some writing under that. Let's see if they have any better pictures of the door panel. Nope. We're gonna say it has a Meridian surround because it is an X, and it just looks like it says something underneath. That's what it kind of looks like. It says surround in smaller letters underneath. So an X, 2021 X with 26,000 miles. They want 56.5 for it. It says it's 2,000 below market. I think it's a little bit overpriced still. I'd say for me, being at a 90 with 26,000 miles and being a 2021 first model year, I'd be around 50 grand for something like this. $50,000. Cool. Moving on to our next example. We have another 2021. This is going to be a 110 base standard vehicle. So as you're going to see, it has the steel wheels. This one is going to have pretty much no options. It's going to have your 4-cylinder P300 turbo 4 engine 2-liter, 295 horsepower, 296 torque. Very utilitarian. Interior, we can see it has a standard wheel. It's not going to be that nice leather. It's going to be that standard leather. What else can we see here? You can see here it also has the jump seat option, no comfort package. So this folds up into a jump seat. So you have your 3 seats in the front, 3 seats in the back. Small screen. Standard Meridian system, no surround written underneath. Very little option. This car, it even looks like it has the cloth. So it's going to be that kind of cloth-like seat. Cloth armrest as well. Very utilitarian. How many miles does this have? 42,000 miles. Looks pretty rough for 42,000 miles, if we're going to be honest. Yep, and that's your 4-cylinder. Yeah, this one is if you want to get the cheapest example, the cheapest version. 42,000 miles for a 110 4-door. They want 38 grand for it. I'd say for me, being that this is a base model, I really wouldn't want to pay over around $33,000. I think 33 grand for any type of Defender is pretty good. You know, just getting into one of these 2021 model, 33 grand with 42,000 miles, very capable. But of course, I was trying to see whether or not it has air. It has air suspension too. So you're getting something here. It's not completely base, but air suspension means it probably has the off-roading capabilities as well. So this would be good for an off-road build because you can always add stuff to this and you're starting off at around 33 grand. Cool. Moving on to our next example. We have a 2022. This is going to be an X Dynamic SE. So this is going to be a more sporty vehicle. However, it's not the top of the line X. It is also a 90. So this is a 2-door in this, what color is this? Green, but I think it's the Pangea green. Not really too sure, to be honest. But we can see it's on the 20-inch wheels. We have the extended black exterior pack. So the wheel arches as well as this cladding down here is going to be in a metallic paint. Interior, we have the small screen, of course. We have the 2-tone interior. Ebony and tan, or ebony and gray, it looks like. So kind of a more interesting interior setup here. You also have the rear climate controls. So 3-zone climate control on this one. Can't tell if it has a Meridian sound system or not, but this is an X Dynamic SE, so it could. Nope, no Meridian surround, just standard Meridian on this example. However, this is a pretty cool spec. It's green with it almost looks like a green interior, but I can't tell if it's green or like a gray, but 2-tone interior with the plastic trim for the center console. Yeah, comfort pack. You have the smaller screen, of course, is the 2022 X Dynamic SE, so they didn't get the big screen. 3-zone climate control. Looks like it has an urban pack. That's what I would call it. It has the body cladding and the big wheels. So this is what an urban pack would come with. Looks pretty good. This would be a good example of something to get. You know, it's just it's kind of a balanced example of a Defender 90. 22,000 miles, 53.9. So, I mean, it's 22. You're not getting a 20 or a 21, so that's good. I'd say for this one, I'd be willing to go up to like around 49 to 50 grand. I really wouldn't pay more than that. They're pretty close. This one has a good amount of options for what it is, and it's a pretty cool spec. So 49 grand is where I'd be at. Cool. All right, let's move on to our next example. We have a 2021. This is going to be an X. In my opinion, if you're trying to get one of these, get the X. I think the X is the best one. It's obviously the namesake of it, just being the X, is going to have the highest resale value, and you get the most standard options, so you don't have to fiddle around with seeing if you have all the right options. This one has the Adventure Pack. You can see the roof rack as well as the ladder and as well as the mud flap. So Adventure Pack X, pretty cool spec, black on black with the 20-inch wheels. Yeah, this one looks pretty cool. This was something I would get. I think this looks pretty cool. Interior. Ooh, this one has a nice interior too. This one has the ebony and tan, or whatever you want to call it, interior. Two-tone brown and black interior. Does it have Meridian surround sound? It has a small screen though. It is a 21, so they didn't really have the big screen, but a black leather wheel, so it looks pretty good. Air suspension, of course, is an X. This one has that walnut wood, panoramic roof. This one also has that upgraded camera option. This one has a screen. You can flip between a camera and a screen, so pretty good right there. Dang, it doesn't say whether or not it has the surround. Can't tell. It doesn't look like it though. It doesn't look like it. I'd be able to tell if it had the speakers on the roof, but I don't see those either. So probably no surround sound on this one, but it is a good spec. 79,000 miles though, so a lot of miles. It is an X though, so the price will be a little bit higher because it is an X, but 54 grand for 79,000 for a 2021 is just not it. I'd say for me, being this for this being a first or second model year, 2020 to 2021, with 80,000 miles, even though it is an X, I really wouldn't want to go above around really around like 47 grand. 46 to 47 is where I'd stop at. I just if I were going to spend this type of money, I might as well get a 22 or 23. So 47 grand is where I'd be at for this example, being a 2021 X with a lot of options, cool spec, as well as being an 80,000 mile car. Cool. All right, let's move on to the next one. We have a 2021 X again, but this one has, I think, lower miles, 54,000 miles, so a little bit lower. Again, the price is pretty high because it is an X, but you have to keep in mind this is a 2021 model year. So X, you're gonna have the extended black exterior. This one is also, this is my favorite interior color combo. If you can't tell, it just looks so good in my opinion. It makes it look pretty rugged but luxurious at the same time. Same thing as before. Let's see if you can tell if it has Meridian surround. This one does. Meridian surround, so amazing. This is as loaded as I need. Nice interior, Meridian surround. Not the big screen, unfortunately, because it is a 21. No third row seat, but it is an X, so it's going to have a lot of the standard off-road features, as well as having those upgraded exterior features like the extended black exterior pack. Comfort package. Did they show the rear seats at all? No. 58 grand for this example, 54,000 miles. I'd say for this one, it would be closer to, closer to this price. The other one I said 47 because it didn't have, I just had higher mileage and it looked like it didn't have surround. But this one has surround. It's a good spec, green with a tan interior. I'd say for this one, I'd be around 50 to 51,000, maybe even 52 because it's a little bit lower miles. $52,000 is what I'd say a 2021 X would be worth. Cool. We got a lot of ads today, y'all. All right, here we go. 2022. This is going to be a base 90. So 90 all-wheel drive. $43,995 is what they're asking. It has 23,000 miles. It is super base, as you can tell. Steel wheels. It has the cargo box. Interior is going to be the cloth interior, the cloth ebony interior, which is, yeah. This one, though, has the comfort package. It has a center console, so that's good. How about air suspension? No air suspension on this one. This one has coil springs. Here we go. This is one with a analog dash. Let's see if this shows a dash here. You can see this one is a digital dash. Even though this is a later model year, it came with the analog dash. There were just some months, some periods of time where you could not get a digital dash anywhere because of COVID, because of the chip shortage. So they actually shipped them out with this Really basic, tacky looking dash. So don't fall for this, guys. If you see one with the analog dash, this is not standard. They made this because they had to, not because they wanted to. So definitely, like the dash, I'd say is worth around a couple grand by itself. So this is already too high. Small screen, of course. Coil springs. Not even the Meridian sound system. Just the bass system. 23,000 miles. I'd say this because it is so base, but it has a box. I'll give it that. This is probably worth 23,000 miles. I'd say this is worth around 35 grand. $35,000 for this super bass 4-cylinder example. Cool. Moving on to our next one. We have a 2022 X Dynamic HSE. This is where I get confused because they got the X Dynamic S, they have the X Dynamic SE, they have the X Dynamic HSE, as well as the XS. So 4 different trim levels that mean absolutely nothing. This one's in white. You can see it's a HSE X Dynamic with the upgraded exterior pack as well as mud flaps, as well as the roof rack. So some options here. It doesn't have the ladder, it doesn't have the box, but it has the roof rack and the mud flaps. P400. So it's going to have the 6-cylinder powertrain, 20-inch wheels as well. Small screen though, unfortunate. Let's see what else this thing has. Leather dash, comfort pack. This one has obviously some electric seats. This one also looks like it has a 3rd row. 3rd row, rear climate control as well. Or wait, no, this one doesn't have a 3rd row. That's just the 2nd row. I'm tripping. Anyway, 2-row car. Rear climate control. Not too bad. It's a standard X Dynamic SE, HSE, whatever you want to call it. Cool box right here. This is the fridge. Oh, actually, there's no button for the fridge. Usually there's a button somewhere. I'm not sure if I'm tripping or not. Anyway. How about the surround sound system? Is it there? Nope. No surround. This is an X Dynamic, so it's not a full X, of course. 57.5 they're asking. 5 grand below market. Only 32,000 miles for a 22 X Dynamic HSE. It's not bad, actually. It is a pretty good spec for being an X Dynamic. It has all the upgrades. It has the roof rack. It has the mud flaps. It has the big wheels. It has the exterior color pack, or the exterior black extended, whatever you want to call it. Black exterior. Extended black exterior pack. Panoramic roof, of course. Small screen though. 57.4 for a 32,000 mile vehicle. You know, that's not too off by a lot, honestly, for what it has. I'd say for this one, I'd be around 54 grand. $54,000. Cool. Moving on to our next example. We have this guy always comes back and just revs his engine. It's like, bro, you have a 250 or a 300, whatever that is. Stop revving. 2022 110 V8. So I'm not sure if this is labeled wrong, but it's just a V8. Yeah, let's see what he has. Nothing. Okay, so in the Carpathian gray, blue calipers. You can tell also it's a V8 because it has the quad tips down here. So that's a big tell of the V8. Wheel cover as well. The V8s are going to come pretty equipped. If they're just standard V8s, you can see it has a leather dash. It has an Alcantara wheel. This one also has the big screen, the 11.4 inch touchscreen screen. 11.4 inch touchscreen. Has the Alcantara and leather combo seats. Digital dash, of course. Let's see. V8, so the 5-liter supercharged V8 engine. It looks like it says Meridian Surround. I mean, it is a V8 after all. It should come pretty equipped. How much do they want for this? 78 grand for this one. Only I thought it said 4,000. 41,000 miles for a 2022, and they want way more than this XSE. 20 grand more. I don't think the V8 is worth that much more. That's why I think the P400X is where it's at. The 6-cylinder X is probably the best value, the best money retaining vehicle, if you want to put it that way. However, of course, you can't go wrong with a 5-liter V8. This is the same one that is a 5-liter supercharged V8. This is the same one that's found in the Jaguar F-Type. So very exciting engine. Sounds really good. Makes a lot of power. This one, 518 horsepower, like 500 or 450 pound-feet of torque for this example, being a P500. Very, very exciting car, and it's V8, so it's going to come pretty well equipped. Meridian surround, fully loaded, 40,000 miles though. I'd say for me, I mean, I really wouldn't want to pay over 70 grand for something like this, even though I think 70 grand is pretty steep for a car of 41,000 miles being 2022, and you can get a 400X for 15 grand, 10, 15 grand cheaper than this. But again, you also have to remember that this comes standard with pretty much all the options. Alcantara wheel. It looks good too. Let's see the exterior spec in the Carpathian gray. Looks good. Upgraded wheels. Has the urban pack, it looks like, with just being very slick, very mall crawler looking. Yeah, I'd say 70, maybe 72. 72 grand is where I'd be at. Cool. All right. We have our next example, another 110 V8. This one is going to have less miles, and you can see the price only creeped up around 5 grand for 35,000 miles. So the depreciation, at least in theory, isn't too bad for one of these. You can drive it a lot and not lose too much money. However, once these get older, only time will tell which ones are more reliable, the 5.0 liter supercharged or the straight 6 with all the technology. These ones just, of course, have a higher entry point. This one has a really nice matte gray color, 20-inch wheels. This one, of course, is going to have the Meridian surround system. Alcantara wheel, just very nicely appointed. Big screen in the middle, as you can see. You also have all the cameras, which makes it really helpful or really easy to off-road. Front and rear cooled and heated seats. Yeah, this one I really like in terms of the spec. It's just, pictures are nice. You have the rear climate control as well. Pretty much fully loaded, this being a first generation, you can call it V8. They pretty much came fully loaded, as you can see. Very nice example. What does this have to say about the car? Does it say anything? Oh, this one's been in an accident. That's why the price is low. There we go. I didn't filter out the accidents for this one, y'all. So accident car, 82 grand. Yeah, I wouldn't even place the price on it. I think it all depends on how bad the accident was. So we're gonna move on. 82 grand though. Would you buy one with an accident for almost $85,000? Probably not. Cool. All right, let's move on. We have a 90X 2023. So here we're getting into the newer model range where stuff like the big screen becomes standard, I believe. Let's see if I'm correct on that. This one's an X. Urban pack, it looks like. Big wheels, extended black exterior pack. You also have the side steps. Wheel cover as well. Yep, you can see that the X comes standard with the big screen now. Digital dash. This one has a two-tone interior. How about the sound system? Yeah, this one has the cool box as well. You can see because it has the button here. So comfort pack, cool box. This one also has Meridian surround with the interior ambient light package as well. So pretty fully loaded. In 2023 is when the X started being a really good buy in terms of the options. It came with a lot of good options, modern options. So we can see this though is a 2-door X with 8,000 miles, and they want 77 grand. I mean, 8,000 is pretty new, but 77 for a 2-door and 90, that is really high. I'd say for me, I'd be, oh man, 70 grand is where I think it should be because it has a lot of good options, but 70 is still way too high. Like, I think we'll stick to $68,000. I know it's crazy lower than this, almost 8 or 9 grand lower than what they're asking, but yeah. There's a reason this car has been sitting for 171 days. So 68 grand is where I'd be at for something like this. Cool. All right. Dang, we got a lot of ads to go through. Let's start flying through. This one is cool. This one's interesting. Not stock, as you can see, it has a wide body kit, but it looks pretty cool. What is this again? It's a V8 wide body kit. You can see it has a lot done to it, but I think it looks pretty cool. It looks like a Dakar race car. You can see a big aftermarket wheel. Let's see if they did anything to the interior. We got the suede. This is a V8 two-door, which is an interesting combo. This thing probably drives really bad on the highway, probably because of that short wheelbase, probably pretty hard to control. But of course, because it's a V8, it's going to be fully loaded. Supercharged V8. That's what the undercarriage look like. They have an upgraded exhaust as well. It probably sounds really, really good. They don't really show much of the dash though. It's kind of annoying. Meridian surround, of course. This is a V8 all-wheel drive. This is an interesting car. 86 grand, 89 or 87 grand pretty much. 7,700 miles. Pretty much brand new. How long has this one been for sale? 7 days. So this one hasn't been for sale long. This one would be pretty cool to get in terms of it being different than the rest of the cars, on top of being a V8 90, which is pretty rare. But also the wide body kit makes it pretty interesting. Depends on your style though. I wouldn't say that this would add a lot of resale value in the long-term future. 86 grand though is a lot. I'd say for being a V8 two-door with all the custom work, I'd be around the $75,000 mark. Customizations don't add value in my book. However, they do for some people, but yeah, 75 grand. Cool. Moving on to our next example, we have a 130 X Dynamic. So this is going to be on the cheaper end in terms of the price, as well as not being as equipped, but it is an X Dynamic SE. So it's going to have some of that X stuff, but not being as equipped. Interior wise though, it is a 23. So you do have the option for the big screen, and you get that here. Meant to look like a Range, or is that just you? I don't think these are meant to look like a Range. I think the Ranges are meant to look way more luxurious. These are meant to look way more utilitarian. However, the Defender does actually steal a lot of the customers away from the Range that are, they want more of a utilitarian vibe, even though they both do the exact same thing in terms of taking people to the mall. That was oh, this one looks like a Range? Nah, I don't think so. I was gonna say, Supercar Brit, since I assume Brit means British, or that could be your name. But in England, Range Rovers are no longer insured. However, Land Rover is unveiling or rolling out their own insurance plan because they can't be insured, or they're impossible to insure in the UK. So if you want one of these in the UK, you can get them insured now just through Land Rover themselves. Anyway, this one you can tell has the cold weather package because, of course, of the windshield right here. It's the heated glass. This one also has the adventure pack, or at least it has the roof rails as well as the ladder. Big screen. This one has the walnut wood trim as well, which looks pretty good with the contrast of the black. But this is a 130. You can see how big and bulky this thing is. Huge rear section on this car. How about the sound system? Can't tell. They don't include pictures of the doors like that. Oh, here we go. Surround. Okay, cool. So this is an XE with the surround, which is pretty rare. It's a pretty well equipped XE or SE, X Dynamic SE. You have the big screen, you have the surround, air suspension, of course. You have the roof rack. This one's a pretty good spec, if I'm not gonna lie. If you can ignore the wheels, these aren't obviously the best wheels, but it also has the extended black exterior package. It's a 130, and they want 67 grand. It has only 32,000 miles. This one's pretty good, honestly, in terms of what you're gonna get. Wheel cover as well. Yep. Pretty good spec here for the price. I'd say if you can get this under 63, 64 grand, you are doing very well. These ones, I mean, if you can resell it, the 130s don't have as big of a market as the 110s. So yeah, I'd say this one, if you get it 63 grand, you will hold that value, and you can put at least like 10,000-15,000 miles on it and sell it for the exact same price. Cool. Moving on to our next example, we have a 130. This is going to be an X, so it's a top of the line 130. As you can see, 20-inch wheels, everything upgraded to the max in terms of the exterior pack. It's going to be an X, so it comes with the straight six, of course. This one, though, also has an analog gauge cluster, so don't get this one. But this is an example of something that you can run into. Highly suggest staying away from this. People aren't going to want to buy the car with this gauge cluster. I'm sorry. It's going to be super hard to resell. I'm sure there's some people that are going to be like, oh, wow, like it has the rare analog gauge cluster, but it's just not a good experience. It looks weird, half digital, half analog. Yeah, especially combined with the big screen. Does this one have the surround system? Meridian surround as well. So it's fully loaded aside from the gauge cluster, which is just dumb in my opinion. But yeah, fully loaded car besides the gauge cluster, that takes away some of the price. 80 grand, 60,000 miles. Yeah, I'd say this one, 70 grand is where I'd be at. Just because of the gauge cluster. 70,000 for a 23 with 16,000 miles. How long has it been for sale? 49 days, 8 saves. Surprising. Anyway, moving on to our next example. We have a ton of examples today. 6:45. I gotta get out of here pretty soon anyway. This one's a cool spec. You have your Defender. It's 2024, so the latest model year before the facelift. 90 with the V8. Tan interior, full tan interior, not a two-tone, but a full tan interior. You have, of course, big screen, Alcantara wheel, air suspension, big wheels, surround system, fully loaded. This one's brand new. 5 miles, 60 miles. They want 109 grand. I don't know why I have this in here. I think it's just because of the spec, but usually I don't do new cars. But yeah, you can see how much they want for this. A V8 90, they want 110 grand for it. Don't buy a brand new one. Buy one with 10,000 miles. You can save 30 grand. Cool. All right, moving on to our next example. All right, here we have a base brand new one, P300S. So, well, not a base. It is an S, so one step above base, but it has a steel wheels. This is a 24 though, so it's going to come with a lot more standard options. However, of course, you still don't get the air suspension on this one. This one, of course, being an S, it's an option. It has the 4-cylinder, no air suspension, small screen. But you do have the center console. This one I highly doubt has a Meridian surround, but we'll just check it out to see. Doesn't even show, so pretty big. Oh wait, yeah, standard Meridian system, but at least it's not the base system. I like just a regular hi-fi. We got the Meridian system, P300S. So they started calling it the P300, I guess, in like the 23, 24 model years, but it's all the same engine. Inline 4, 296 horsepower. This one has 10,000 miles. They want 58 grand for it. Even though it is a 24, I'd say this one is probably worth about, it's an S, not a base, so it doesn't even have air suspension now. This one is probably worth around 49 grand in my opinion. $49,000 for a 2024. You can get one of these for under 50 grand for a brand new one, 2024 I mean. You are doing pretty well. Here we have a P400S. So this is going to be a straight 6 turbo supercharged hybrid vehicle. S being one step above base. However, you can see it doesn't look too bad. If you look closely, you can tell that it's not like an X model with the fully upgraded 20-inch wheels as well as the extended black, but it looks decent enough. White roof on this one. See what interior options we have. We have the leather wheel, which is nice. Leather dash, small screen though, coil springs, Meridian sound, power seats. So not completely base. It is an S, but again, only 7,000 miles on this one. They want 69. This one I said for 49 because so yeah, this one because it has the upgraded engine. Of course, you have to pay a little bit more for that. It's going to be a better driving experience. I'd say for this one being at 69, I'd probably be around the $60,000 mark for a 7,000 mile 2024 one of these. 60,000 will be pretty good. You're getting the good powertrain. You also have some features in this one, such as rear climate control. But again, you're getting small screen. And this one is coil spring, so it's not going to be as good off-road. Moving on to our next example. We have a 2024 P400S. This one is a little bit better equipped in terms of its spec. It's blue with the tan interior, which looks a little bit better. If you're going to be buying an S, at least get a good trim spec. So we have the two-tone tan interior. This one is also on coil springs. So all these S's are on coil springs, pretty much equipped the same. This one just looks a little bit better. This one I would call a yacht spec. Blue with the tan interior and the wood trim. It looks pretty nice, actually, for what being a base vehicle. But again, coil springs. I don't recommend getting one of these with coil springs because what's the point? What's the point? It looks cool though. I'll give it that. This one is something you can fool people with. 65 grand, 7,000 miles. Yeah, I'd say for this, I'd probably be around the same thing as the last one, around $59,000 to $60,000. Cool. Moving on to our next one. This is going to be an X Dynamic SE. You can tell it's a little bit nicer, a little bit closer to an X because of these upgraded 20-inch wheels as well as the extended black exterior pack. But it is still an X Dynamic SE, so it has the option of having the small screen, which it does. Interior is going to be two-tone black and gray, it looks like. Wheel cover, walnut wood. No, this one looks like the oak wood, actually. Smoked oak. Small screen. This one does have the air suspension, though. Not bad, not bad. It is an X Dynamic SE, so a little bit nicer than an S or an SE, but it is not an X. 70 grand, 10,000 miles. I'd say for me, being that this is a P400 X Dynamic SE, I'd be around the $65,000 mark. Cool. All right, moving on to our next one. These are all going to be 2024s, by the way. But you can see how much the price jumps when you go from an X Dynamic to an actual X. This is a P400X. This is what I recommend getting. P400X, so the 6-cylinder X, it's going to be the best all-around bang for your buck. You're going to get the best gas mileage. You're going to have the best... you're not going to pay too much off the bat, and you're also going to get all the options. This one's on 20-inch wheels. You can tell it's an X, so it has the upgraded exterior with the black extended. This one also should have the Meridian sound system surround, but it doesn't. So an X without surround, unfortunate. So this is not the best X out there, but it does have the upgraded screen, of course. Air suspension, of course, has the walnut wood. Rear climate control. I mean, it is an X, so it should come with some good options. However, as you can see, it doesn't come with all the good options. It's missing Meridian sound. 87 grand, 7,800 miles. I'd say because it's missing the Meridian sound, that's the only Meridian surround. That's the only thing it's missing, really. As well as just accessories in general. It doesn't even have a wheel cover. This is a pretty base X, which usually isn't the case. Yeah, I don't think this is worth more than 80 grand. I'd say 80 grand for a brand new base X, if you want to call it that. Cool. Moving on to our next example, we have a P400X, 90 grand. This one is 7,000 miles. So this one I'm expecting to be better in some way. The only thing that last one was missing was the Meridian sound. So let's see what we got here. This one has the under tray. So it looks like it has the urban pack just from the under tray, or it could have been optioned with the under tray. Wheel cover as well. So of course, yeah, we have a better spec already. Interior wise, I mean, looks pretty good. Just ebony trim with the dark smoked oak. Big screen, of course. Let's see what else we can find here. It still doesn't have the Meridian surround sound system. So they did option. You can see in 23, which is interesting. A lot of the X's came standard with the surround system. However, for 24, you don't see it as much. I wonder why that is. Probably to keep costs down, because a lot of them, or every model year of these, they got more and more expensive as they were released. So that's the only thing I could think of, which makes sense. So again, this one's kind of the same as before, except it's an option with the urban pack. The other one didn't have any packs at all. So you get the skid tray, you get upgraded wheels, you get the extended black exterior as well as the wheel cover. 90 grand. Yeah, this is way too much for 7,000 miles. This last one, I was gonna be at around what, like 80 grand. Yeah, for this one, I'd probably be around 82 grand. $82,000. Cool. Moving on to our next example. We got a few left. This one is going to be a P400X again. However, this one is 106 grand. I believe this one is brand new. That's why it's like that. Honestly, no miles. I didn't even say any miles on here. But let's see if it's equipped with anything nicer than the last one. You can see it doesn't have the urban pack like the other one did. So off the bat, it doesn't have that option. However, it is a cool paint scheme. It's a bronze and black two-tone. Interior is also nice. It has the ebony and tan leather, excuse me. Air suspension, of course. This one does have Meridian surround, so this one is better equipped in terms of the speaker system, and it also has a pretty cool spec as well. It shows the options here. So we got the premium, or the comfort and convenience pack with the fridge, 22-inch wheels. I've been saying 20-inch this whole time. They're 22s. God damn it. Anyway, tow hitch receiver. This is a big option in terms of price. Meridian surround, also big and pricey. Tow hitch receiver, $700. Surround upgrade for an X is $450 extra. It also has the extended black exterior pack. Yeah, but none of those like urban pack or anything like that. Satin protective film also $5,500. I was telling you for those that satin look, $5,500. It's insane. So big option car here. 90. Wait a minute. MSRP is 90 grand. They want 106. Yeah, I think this one's worth 90 grand. Does it even show how many miles it has? Show the dash at all? I'm pretty sure this thing is brand new. Yeah, 90 grand is what I'd be at. I'm at MSRP for this one. Cool. All right, moving on. We have 5 more. Here we have a V8 P500 SE. So in 2024, as you can see, actually, no, I'm sorry, not in 2024. But for the V8, you can get the V8 standard or you can get a V8 SE, or they come in different trim models. But if you have V8 and nothing else, it's going to be a top of the line. But this one is going to be a V8 SE. So it's not as equipped as the rest of them. But as you can see, it's more so on the material side. It still has air suspension. No packs though. So no adventure pack, no explorer pack, no urban pack, none of that. But it is a V8. So it's like a base V8 vehicle, which is pretty cool. I mean, it is what it is. If you want something like this, you do have the option, which is cool. You don't have to get a fully spec'd out vehicle if you want the V8. It has Meridian surround though, so that's actually a good option. This is actually pretty cool. It's base car with the V8 and surround. This kind of is what I would get, honestly, but it doesn't have the extended black exterior pack. I don't like this plastic cladding. That's the only thing this thing is missing for me, or else that'd be pretty cool because it has just regular options. If it had an urban pack, that would be ideal. But 89 grand, 11,000 miles. That has a V8, so keep that in mind. The V8 is always going to be super expensive when compared to the rest of them. And it is a 24 with 11,000 miles. I'd say for me, I'd be around 83 grand. Yeah, 83 grand for a 2024 with 7,000 miles or 11,000 miles isn't too bad. This last one was a P400, yeah, and they want 90 grand. This one, yeah, 83 grand I think would be pretty good. No, you could probably get it a little bit better than that. Here we have a V8, another SE. This one, let's see real quick. Does not look like it has an urban pack, but it does have the wheel cover. Let's see. Computer's lagging a little bit. Oh, I can't tell. These pictures are so bad. Yeah, no urban pack or no extended black exterior package. However, it does have the 22s. Interior wise, yeah, this is kind of a more base spec interior, white headliner, but we do have the upgraded screen. Let's see, the doors, yeah, it doesn't look like it has Meridian surround either, but it is a V8 SE. 91 grand, no thanks. 3,000 miles, so low miles. Yeah, I'd say this is probably worth around 84, 85, maybe 86. But again, not too equipped. And the interior doesn't look that great, honestly. Still an SE at the end of the day. Moving on, we have a 110 V8 P525. So this is going to be the top of the line V8 that they currently make, 2024. So the highest you can get, 5,500 miles. They want 100 grand for it. I'd say this is probably worth around like a little bit less, but let's see what it has on the inside. You have the suede steering wheel, nice upgraded interior pieces, has nice paint as well. What else we got here? 22-inch wheels, extended black exterior pack, wheel cover. Again, this is the P525, so this is the big boy. 518 horsepower. It has more than that. This is a 525. What does it have? Oh, the 520, the 500 is 493. The 525 is 518. I'm tripping, man. Too many examples, too many options in this car, man. It gets confusing, but it is a nice example. Black on black, nice leather. Has the Windsor leather. Meridian surround. Yep, pretty much fully loaded. 525. So you have the upgraded power. I'd say around 95 grand is what I'd pay for this. 95 is just a ton of money. You're getting into like, you can get like you can get something else, man. This thing, that's why I say get the P400. You're in it for a lot less, and you get a really good experience. Moving on to our next example. We have a P525 again. This one's a little bit cheaper, higher miles. Let's see if it's any different. I don't know why I picked two of the same car, basically. Just a little bit higher miles on this one. Alcantara steering wheel. Same thing, man. Same exact thing. Does it have the surround system? Does it even show? I don't know. That's like a big thing for me. Surround. It's not even that expensive as an upgrade. It does have it, so it's pretty much fully loaded. 5-liter V8, 518 horsepower. Probably sounds really good. Alcantara wheel. This is as sporty as it's gonna get. Black on black. It's pretty boss spec, if I'm not gonna lie, with the black wheels. It's like a dark gray almost. Matching wheels. Looks pretty dope, but no packs, no extras on this one. 97 grand, 50,000 miles, 15,000 miles. This one I'd say is probably worth around in the low 90s, 92. But you're really not going to get any cheaper than that for a low mile V8 P525 that's fully spec'd out. But again, this one doesn't even have the wheel cover. Moving on to our second to last example, we have a 130 P400X. So if you have a big family and you want the nicest example, this is what you should get, the P400X with the 130 configuration, because it has the big rear seats. Yeah, this thing looks so huge. Interior wise, very nice spec. It has the ambient lighting. As you can see, it's in purple. Looks really, really good. Rear climate control, of course. Let's see. Has a rear panoramic roof. This is a 130 extended model. I can't tell if it has a good sound system or not. It looks like it does. Has the Meridian surround, fully loaded, has everything you want. Family car, 104 grand. This one's brand new though. So 104 grand, brand new. I saw the MSRP on the last one. They wanted 90 grand for a 100. I'd say for this one, I'd be at around 90. Man, they said it's 107. I want to see the sticker on that. I'd be around 95. 95 grand, brand new. You're gonna lose a lot of money, but it's, you know, that's what it's worth. And then finally, our last example. We have a P400X 130. Again, this is what you should get. Best bang for your buck is the P400X. The V8 is going to be the most exciting. The P400X is the best value. So the 6-cylinder X, fully loaded, if you can find one. This one is a cool red color, black interior. Of course, being an X, it's going to have all the nice materials on the inside. You have the dark oak trim with the black. It's a nice interior. This one has a roof rack as well. Does it have a ladder? Thoughts on the Genesis from Owen Clark. My aunt wanted a full-size sedan and almost bought a G90, but opted for a Volvo S90. Thought that was unusual. You think it was unusual that they wanted, or she wanted a S90, or you thought it was unusual that she wanted to get a G90? I would have got a G90 personally. I really like the new Genesis cars. I think they look very unique, and I like cars that are like brand new because they always feature like new stuff. When you think of an S90, it's like it's been around for a while. But that's just my take. I would have got the G90. They look amazing on the road. I'm not gonna lie. They look like boss cars. The S90 just looks like a bigger, like S70 or whatever you want to say, like just a bigger sedan from Volvo. But the G90 actually has a lot of road presence. Did she like the way the Volvo probably has better build quality and is probably maybe more reliable depending on what engine. But in terms of just like driving or looking at the car and like just the way it makes me feel, I think the G90. She didn't want anything German. She thought it was unusual. That she went an S90 considered uncommon. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like the G90 would have been better, in my opinion. But congrats on your aunt getting a new car. An S90. I don't even know what that looks like. A brand. Let's see what a 2024 Volvo. I don't ever see them. You're right. Yeah. This thing's huge. I wouldn't even know, to be honest, if I saw one. It doesn't look bad though. It looks very, very Volvo. But yeah, the S90, the Volvos are super rare. Anyway, going back to this, 83 grand. So this one should have some miles on it. 24,000 miles. That's what I'm talking about. 20,000 miles, you're already losing like 20 grand. The Volvos are huge over there, I bet. Yeah, I bet. Over here, like, it's cool. I like Volvo and I like Polestar with their design language, but for some reason, it's like they're just like on the border of being too boring, I guess. But yeah, that's about it for me in terms of Volvo. I think like Volvo is cool. They're reliable. They have great safety. They're engineered pretty well. I just don't think the dealer network is that great over here. Yeah, and the interiors on them are not the best designed in my opinion. They look very Swedish. I'll say that. Anyway, yeah, I was saying this one already dropped 20 grand compared to its. Oh wait, I'm sorry. This is not a V8. Yeah, this one probably dropped around 10 grand in 24,000 miles. I'd say for this one, I'd be around like the 74,000, 75,000 mark. Try to get it on in the mid 70s for a P400X with the 130. But again, this does have some good options, so as it should. It's an X. Cool. All right, so those are the ads. As you can see, the range is huge. 2024 I wanted to focus on because that's what a lot of people are going to be getting into, just because they're newer and the facelifted ones are coming out, so they want to get the last model year, the pre-facelift, to get the best deal in terms of getting the newest car for the best price. You have to keep in mind that you're going to get hit with depreciation on these when compared to, let's see, like a 2021. The difference is around 20 grand for around 3 years. So you're going to lose some money, not too much money. What else? Keep in mind with the options, I'd say to look out for the comfort and convenience pack and try to get either the off-road pack or the towing pack. They both come with the air suspension pack. Off-road is going to, or towing pack is going to come with the off-road pack. So if you can get the towing pack, that'll basically come with the air suspension and the off-road pack. That is the best way to go. It's pretty expensive. Family pack just gives you those rear seats, and family comfort gives you rear heated seats. In terms of your accessory packs, Explorer pack with the raised air intake is obviously going to be the best in terms of utility. You're going to be able to off-road it pretty well. Adventure pack comes with the rinse system as well as the air compressor. Country pack, urban pack is what most people probably should get in terms of it being the best looking. It's going to have the wheel cover as well as the big wheels. What else? Yeah, in terms of options, I'd say get the Meridian sound system. Try to get ones with the best seats. Of course, the higher up you go in trim level, the more the seats, or the better the seats get, but you can still upgrade them if you're like close to it, you know. So you can upgrade an SE to have the same seats as an X, but you can't upgrade a base to have the same seats as an X. Does that make sense? In closing, spec'd out Defender or base Range Rover? Definitely spec'd out Defender. Base Range Rover, I mean, you can get a 6-cylinder Range Rover Sport, but if you get a V8 Defender with the urban pack, it's going to look a lot meaner. It's going to sound a lot meaner. It's going to have a lot more road presence, a little bit different, but you're definitely going to have something a lot cooler than the Range Rover. Everyone has a Range Rover. Everyone has the Range Rover. Not everyone, obviously, but a spec'd out Defender with the V8 is pretty rare to see, so I think that would be cooler. But, you know, there's going to be a lot of people that just love Range Rovers, but for me, I say get a spec'd out Defender. Try to get one with the upgraded screen, the big screen, adaptive cruise control. That most of them have it, but keep in mind that the base ones are not going to have it, so again, that varies with the trim levels. There's so many different trims for this car. Tow hitch receiver, expensive option. Make sure to get one with the tow hitch receiver. But other than that, that pretty much wraps it up. Keep in mind with these build quality issues with the first model years as well, 2020 and 2021. Try to avoid those model years, and also keep in mind that some do have air suspension and overheating issues. However, it's not too common. But yeah, that pretty much wraps it up. Oh, again, I keep saying that, but one more thing. Get the 6-cylinder. It's going to be the best bang for your buck. 4-cylinder is pretty much limited to the lower spec models. The V8 it's going to be really expensive. 6-cylinder is a really good powertrain, and you can get a fully loaded 6-cylinder car. You can't get a fully loaded 4-cylinder car. The V8s are just a little expensive. Cool. That pretty much wraps it up. Shout out to everyone who made it to the end of the video. I'll be back eventually. I'm not too sure. Probably next Friday, I'll be back with another video. I'm not too sure what to do yet. I got a long list of cars, potential vehicles to do next. But as always, appreciate you guys for staying to the end and watching. And I'll see you with the next